All right, everybody. This is the Art with Errol Podcast. It is May 12th, 2025, and this is the Monday check-in. Woo! All right, y'all. Woo! It was a crazy week last week. A lot of appointments and stuff that, I had to kind of work through. Which, this is going to happen, I knew I wasn't going to be perfect with the consistency of, creating content, game streaming, and all that stuff, right? But at least last week, we did get our podcast done. I got 2 game streams in. I did an art video, which, it's better than, missing a few days. I really only technically missed 2 days, but not really, because I did the podcast and a game stream in one day. So I still got, 2 game streams out the week last week, where I usually get 3. So it's challenging, y'all. It's challenging to be a content creator, right? Because if you're going to really make it, I believe that you have to be consistent. I say this a lot, and I beat it over the head a lot, but the name of the game is, being consistent, really, because if people can know when to find you, then they're more likely to come back and, join in on your content. It's when you miss a lot of days and you don't notify your community, they don't know what's going on, and things just go south, man. And the reason why I know this is because, I was so inconsistent in the past. And that's why when I restarted my gaming channel, I said, this is a year that I can, be more consistent. Let's try to do this the right way. If you want to make it as a content creator, you're going to have to start making your videos, making content, right? Having a schedule. It's just so important to be able to stick to a schedule. Not only making good content, right? You want to make good content too. You don't want to just be throwing, crap at the wall, right? We don't want to do that. But being consistent is very important. It's very, very important. So, we missed technically one day last week. I made some announcements. Don't know how many people actually saw the post or whatever, but I did try my best. I said it in the podcast, I believe, and in the next couple of weeks, I think got more appointments coming up. So there will be more weeks like last week, and it's challenging to, work through these things. But I believe, if you actually just make the post or do a video and say, hey, this is our schedule for this week or whatever, I think that kind of helps smooth things over. So last week was a little bit more challenging, but we survived it. And it was a good week. Overall, it was a good week, I think. As far as channel growth, I think we're seeing growth. It's just very small, just like as always, I'm not your top creator, right? But maybe one day, you never know. One day, maybe you just take off. You might just take off like a rocket. You just got to keep doing what you're doing and just trying to improve, and that's where we're at. We're trying to improve. We're trying to get better. We're trying to figure things out, Even though I've been doing it for a long time, I'm still kind of in that figuring out phase. It's funny. It is. It's funny. But we can lead into creating content, which is what I like to talk about in my podcast, right? Where are we today, right? And what's our big topic for today? I think the big topic for today is making more videos. I don't make enough videos, and I know this. But this year, the main focus has been really just trying to be consistent, right? Because of how inconsistent I've been, in my time as a content creator, right? So I know I need to make more videos, especially on the gaming channel and probably on the art channel. I'm up to one video a week, which where I hadn't been making any art videos for a long time. So that's a positive on that channel. On our game streaming channel, I would like to make at least one video, at least a 10-minute video, maybe talking about gaming or something. I don't know. I need to come up with the actual idea for it, but I do know I need to make more videos, because videos have its own separate metric, it seems like, or its own separate algorithm in itself, right? Where if I've been doing shorts every day, I think shorts, they have their own special metric too. So I think they're kind of separate, where a video can keep picking up views, right? I think shorts don't really, once you've made your shorts and you're making them every day like that, they kind of get lost in the sauce, right? They're going to be gone because you're making a lot of those. So I don't think a lot of people go back to see old shorts. They're looking at the new shorts, right, that you made for that day. At least that's what it seems like when I look at these videos, because they get to a point where the viewership stops. Where a video, on the other hand, the viewership can start off low and end up being high later on, days later. You can get more views later, and it will continue to kind of get views. Excuse me, y'all, needed a drink. So I know making more videos is important to growth, at least that's what I feel. I could be wrong. If you're just a shorts creator and you're constantly getting growth, maybe you figured out the secret sauce that I haven't figured out yet. And I'm sure there's folks out there that have, I'm just not one of them. And that's okay, because I don't really want to be just a shorts creator. I want to kind of be like a full, well-rounded creator. So I want to be able to make some videos, some streams, and some shorts, right? I want to be able to do the whole house, right? That's kind of what I want to do, or that's my ultimate goal, right? To get to being a full-time creator at some point in time, which is challenging, especially with me working, So we'll get to that. Let's continue with my other thought. I think, I feel like there's a fulfillment too, in making like a longer video, if you can get the people to watch it. A lot of times with my content, I struggle to get like full video views, or full shorts views. Most of the time it's the videos that I make that are like just saying, hey, here's the new games, announcing them off. I kind of get like full viewers on those videos. Sometimes when I'm rambling or doing a rambling video, I don't get a lot. So I think maybe I need to switch up when I'm doing there or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out along the way. But I think there could be value in making some like 10-minute videos, and especially in growth and getting more watch time. That's what I was trying to think. Watch time. It kind of was slipping my mind for a minute, y'all. But my goal of what I would like to get to, or goal I would like to set, future goal, right, is to making at least one 10-minute video per week on the gaming channel. And really this will lead into our challenges, right? What I was kind of mentioning or hinting at, this won't be easy for me, for sure. It won't be easy. for one, I have a full schedule, right? Just thinking this through. Balancing our life, family life, work, streaming, and creating content. It just isn't that simple. This is where I want to get at. It just isn't that simple. It's doable, but there's a lot of time constraints, and that's where the issue will come in, because I have such a limited time. So you either have to sacrifice on the quality of the content, or you got to kind of shorten it or something. It's good, so that's why usually for me, doing shorts, doing a few, a 2-minute short in the morning or a 3-minute short in the morning is easy. You put your phone up, you set it up, you turn your little ring light on, or your light, whatever light you got, and you record a quick, short of whatever you're going to talk about or whatever. That's easy. Simple editing on the phone can be done with that. A 2-minute video doesn't really take long time to edit, right? But if you're going to make like a 5 or 10-minute video, that's where it gets tricky, because you need time to plan it, to think about exactly what you're going to say or do or in the video for the video. And then you need to record it. Then you got to edit it, right? And then editing a 5 to 10-minute video is going to take a little bit longer than just editing a short on your phone, because it don't take that long to edit a short. That's why shorts are easy, and they're, you could do shorts. If anybody out there listening to this right now, and you're like, hey, I want to get some more content, shorts is a good way to do it. You can make a quick short, man. I would say man, but I'm actually talking to everyone, so don't take that personal. Everybody, you can make shorts. That's quick and easy. There's lots of free apps and free editing software. You can make a quick, easy short. The Instagram has a new editing thing to make shorts and stuff. I forget what it's called. You know what? Let me kind of look at that. I can tell you what it is, because I got like an invite, I guess, to mess around with it or something, and I ain't really touched it. I touched it one time and I was like, yeah, this is okay, but this is not the one I like. So, but it's free, and you can use it, so it could be value to you, which I prefer the Adobe. I use the Adobe Express, but the Instagram Edits, it's called Edits. I'm sorry, y'all. There you go. I found it. So they got that app called Edits, I think, which is new, and you can basically do some shorts in that, and that's a great way to get some shorts done. You just come up with your concept, do your quick short, do the little cool editing on there, and you're done. You're good. So that's easy, right? Doing shorts, that's a good way to get some content. You can actually I like making announcements in those. That's why I like to say, at the end of it, I could kind of tell people, hey, today we're doing this. You do something silly. That's why I think, for me, it may not be working perfectly, but this is what I like to do. Something silly, a little bit of informative stuff, and then, maybe scheduling information, at the end, or like and subscribe at the end or something. Something that's just my way of thinking, but you don't got to follow that formula. You can come up with your own formula. Just ideas to kind of, push forward. But 5 to 10 minute videos is what we was talking about. That's a lot harder to get done, especially when you're constrained by the time I have. So with my schedule, you work an 8-hour schedule, get off. I got a couple hours to make some content, and then, that's it. I'm off to the races. Got to get the kids to after school activities, and then come home, dinner, family time, sleep, shower, sleep, repeat. Shower, sleep, repeat. There is a brush your teeth in that too, just, you know what I'm talking about though. You know what I mean. So that's why, like I said, for me, it's not going to be easy because that's my schedule. Maybe your schedule don't consist of this. If you're already a full-time creator, this doesn't even apply to you because you just wake up and create content and then do your family stuff or your personal stuff and then you're good. But for the folks that are trying to become a content creator and that are in that kind of flow, it's challenging when you have such a small window to make some content. Now if your focus is just making videos and you have the full hours to make videos, you can get it done. You can get shorts done and videos. That's no problem. It's when you add live streams, that takes time. So you got to say, okay, well, how much time of this block can I set to live stream or game stream or whatever? That part is, where it gets tricky. So, and with that being said, right? Well, I lost a train of thought for a second. I'm sorry, y'all. my brain kind of froze up. There was something I wanted to say, Oh, it can also sometimes just be hard to stay motivated and create, You get tired or you're dealing with things in family life or personal life, and, it can be overwhelming, That's the other issue that could arise. So, sometimes meeting the goal of that will be more challenging, I guess. But where there's a will, there's a way. I think where there's a will, there's a way. How can you push through that? You gotta find, I guess, the window of opportunity to say, hey, I could probably do it on this day if I can get this done at this time, and then I got a block to make that 5-minute video. And I think that's what my plan is going to be. Either I can do it bunched together with a live stream, because I've seen folks do this. Like, I think Tim the Tap Man, some of the other folks will actually do it in their live stream, right? They'll have a segment where they're like, I'm doing this, this is like and then they turn that into a YouTube video by cutting or editing it out of the live stream. That's probably a way to get at least the one video out the week. That might be a way for me to do it. Another way would be to etch out some time to maybe just shoot or make a video and then etch out some time each day to edit it a little bit of time, and then maybe at the end of the week you post a video. So that's maybe another way to do it, in smaller segments each day. If you can somehow etch out maybe X amount of time each day, I think that's might be my plan, either that way or in the live streams is what I was thinking. Now, I don't know which one is going to be best, so I'm going to have to probably try both methods is what I come up with ultimately. And that's just what I was thinking, man. Because like I said, ultimately my goal this year has been to just try to be consistent with everything I'm doing. Consistency first, and then adding in stuff in later, right? And if it comes down to it, if only I can get a 5-minute video instead of a 10-minute video, that's really, if I could do that once a week, that's a good start, maybe, right? And then when I get it nailed down, maybe I could bump the time up on the videos. That was another alternative method or thinking of it, just trying to get something going on the gaming channel where I can make a video, just a video, right, each week, and that will be added value to the channel. So as I've been pondering this or thinking about this, I decided that I'll probably start this up in the next week or two, trying to like add that in. But it's really going to be important that I get through the weeks with appointments first, because I have some weeks where they have appointments and things coming up. And then, so maybe it might start that after the summer, and that will just kind of lead into the next year or something. I don't know. But I would like to get to that point, So for now, I think we stay consistent with our shorts every day. We're doing our podcast on Monday. We're doing game streams on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and the art video on Friday. I'm just going to hold that true. I'm going to try to hold that true through the year. And then at some point, what I've been talking about here is like adding in that 5 to 10 minute video once a week. And then we'll build from there. Yeah. So, and like I said, I have options or methods of what I've come up with, ways of doing it, just by watching other creators. And this is kind of important, too, to like kind of watch other creators and see how they do it, because a lot of folks will do it during their live stream. They kind of like build it into their live stream, and then they cut it out, piece it together, and make the video, which is a good way to do it, I think. That's another good way to do it, And you're getting like a double whammy in that sense. You're kind of like getting two pieces of content for one. 2 for 1. It's like a 2 for 1. So, yeah, if you haven't thought about that or you're struggling, I definitely would like to hear people's thoughts on this. If you want to chat it to me in the comments box on the podcast, that would be nice to see how you kind of you deal with this, or how you do it. If you're kind of in that same boat as me, where you work and you're trying to do content creation, you're doing, whether it's Instagram that you're doing, or Facebook, or the other platforms. I've been solely focusing on YouTube. I've been live streaming everywhere, but my focus has been YouTube. Which I wish that I could just do YouTube, but I feel like you have to expose yourself more. So using the multi-stream thing, I think is kind of crucial at this point. Because people are so spread out anyway. It's kind of important to kind of spread yourself out and, just kind of direct people to the platform you want. If you're on Kick or whatever, and I think you're multi-stream to everything, but then you try to like say, hey, come to Kick, come to this, or hey, come to YouTube, or hey, come to Instagram, or whatever it is you're on that your main goal is on. You just try to redirect them, like, hey, come to this channel, because this is the one where I'm, reading all the chat from, or whatever. Sorry, y'all, I need another drink. My throat gets kind of dry, I guess, and I need to quench that. All right. So yeah, and that's where we at on content creation, y'all. I know it's not gonna be perfect. I just want to keep things real. I want to try to keep it authentic. When I make this stuff, or think about these things, or talk about this stuff with you, I think the purpose of the podcast is to kind of like discuss the things, that we're going through, right? Or at least the stuff I'm going through, and you can kind of think about what you're going through and reflect. And you can always comment. Like I said, comments are welcome on these podcasts. Tell me what you think, and, positive feedback is usually good, or some kind of feedback to kind of help each other out. I hope I'm helping you out by telling you the struggles I'm going through in life, so that, it's making your channel better. That's great, if it is, so if it's not, then, I understand. Everybody's got their own way of thinking, and maybe their own challenges, but I think this kind of open talk about it, gets me thinking about it for sure. How can I better myself? Because that's the goal. The ultimate goal is to keep bettering yourself, and trying to figure it out. One of the things with the shorts that I took away was I was saying the date, and I had the date displayed above my head. So I was like, why am I saying the date? Just take that out. It's waste. So, it's already there. Just say it's a beautiful morning, So, I'm kind of reworking things slowly, as I realize things. And I may be a little slower at realizing things or figuring things out. But, eventually I'll figure things out. I'll come up with other concepts, other ideas, and other ways of doing things. So, yeah, appreciate everybody listening to me ramble. Don't forget to like the video if you're on YouTube, or subscribe to the channel wherever it's at, so that you can stay up on this. I think this podcast is going to be good at some point. As I get better, like I said, the more loose I get, the more I get better at this. I've been doing better by outlining ideas or bullet points to kind of talk to. So I think that's working for me for sure. We can go into the joy of gaming. We're 26 minutes in, which is great. So yeah, I just been playing Fortnite a lot lately because of the Star Wars event. And if anybody knows me, they know I love Star Wars. Battlefront games were like my favorite of the Star Wars series. Battlefront 2 was a pretty awesome game at the end of its life, right? Which kind of sucked because they came out the gate with that game with all those loot boxes, and it was just not a good thing. And then there was a lot of hatred towards the game, and then they fixed the game, took all that stuff out, it got better. They added in all the characters at the end. The game got really good, and it was one of the games that I first started streaming with, so it was between that and Apex Legends, which I just used to play a lot of. But so the fact that they added they have the Fortnite Star Wars event, I just like the Star Wars, so I want to play. And the Mace Windu thing is pretty cool. Certain parts of the map, I think you'll find Rey and then or Mace Windu, and they train you. When you get trained by Mace Windu, you come out of the portal with the purple lightsaber, so that's awesome. When you come out with a purple lightsaber, that's pretty awesome, y'all. So I just noticed some error with my thing here. Let me fix something real quick. Where is I gotta find that display, right? Okay, something's wrong with my display. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, I should be in front of that, but it doesn't look like. I don't know. The desk. I don't know. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So I've been enjoying the Fortnite event. I'm still wondering where's Darth Jar Jar. Is he gonna be a skin that you can purchase or whatever, or not? Because they didn't add him into the Battle Pass. The Battle Pass has the Emperor. So yeah. I mean, the Emperor is cool to have, I guess, but and I haven't completed the Battle Pass yet either. So tomorrow and Wednesday we will be playing Fortnite, and then the goal is to dive into Doom: The Dark Ages on Thursday. I made all the thumbnails. Well, we got the same thumbnail I use for Fortnite, but I made a thumbnail for Doom: The Dark Ages, and I like how it came out. It's really funny. Yeah, So that's our schedule for the week. I'll be diving into some Fortnite, and we will dive into Doom the Dark Ages on Thursday. And then hopefully I'll complete the Battle Pass. If not, I'll try to complete it on the weekends. But through the week, I'm going to be switching from Fortnite to Doom the Dark Ages. And we'll just try to play it through that as much as we can tolerate or get through. Because, sometimes with the playthrough games, I kind of like lose interest. I don't know. Maybe I have ADHD. Who knows? But it's more of a shooter action game, so I feel like it'll be fun to kind of go through that game. So we'll definitely try to get as far through and maybe beat the game if we can. So that'll be fun. Cause Doom the Dark Ages looks like it's gonna be a pretty awesome game. Just from the trailers. So, and there was a lot of positive. I think I did a short on the positive Metacritic score was like at an 85. So that's pretty good in itself. Pretty good in itself, y'all. So yeah, that's where we at with our gaming content, and I feel like we are making good headway on the gaming channel, even though, like I said, it's slow growth, but any growth is better than no growth, I guess. So we can go back to artwork, and let's talk about some artwork. Last Friday we did the Burned One. We drew the Burned One, who is from the Midnight Walk, which is a horror game, and it looks really cool because it's done in clay animation. And that was a fun little sketch that we did. So I enjoyed that. If you didn't check that out, that's on the Art with Errol channel on YouTube. And you can just type in Art with Errol and you'll find that. I did a short and a regular video of that, so you can watch your whatever format you like to watch it in. That was fun. And this Friday, I think we may draw something Doom the Dark Ages, just because we're going to be diving into that game. Or I'll come up with something else. But you always can request a drawing via my website, the Art with Errol YouTube channel, or if you want to write it on the podcast, that's fine. If you want to comment something you would like to see me sketch out, because we're just doing sketches, quick sketches. It's what I have time for these days. So quick sketches, anything in the sketchbook that y'all want to see me sketch out, do a little pencil color with it or something. Just go ahead and comment it wherever you feel comfortable, whether that's on the Art with Errol YouTube channel or the podcast or wherever, or the gaming channel. I'll see the note. I'll see the comment, and as long as it's not something crazy or inappropriate, I will add it to the list of things, and it will pop up in one of the Friday art videos. Don't you just hate when your back starts itching? Need like a back scratcher right here at my desk. Completely off topic, but yeah, y'all. So this has been great, y'all. I know I'm not really very long with a lot of my podcasts, but I feel like I'm getting more comfortable, and I'm just talking about the topics that I think are important at the time. So and this is like more a good way to kind of be informative and hopefully interactive with the community at some point. If you interact with my content, I consider you a member of the Artistry Society. That's what we're calling our group. I think I've said this before. So welcome to Art with Errol, and thank you for listening today. If you found any information informative, or you want to tell me how you do that work-life balance with creating videos, and all your content, please do so on the channel. Add comments, y'all. If you want to comment about, what you would like to see me sketch out or draw, whatever, we will, consider it and add it in. And, still progressing. We're still pushing to, get to a point where we can become a full-time creator at some point. And then maybe I can have just a full day, of just drawing. And I can do like a 3-hour drawing, which will be, 3 or 4 hour drawing, which will come out a lot better, than the sketches I'm doing in like 1 hour or whatever. You have more time. You can, definitely get more creative. You can, do a lot more. When you're doing something in a short window of time, you're kind of limited in your ability to, push the envelope, as they may say, or whatever. So, this was a lot of fun today. Like I said, I appreciate everybody. Let's keep pushing, keep moving forward together. Like I said, I want this to eventually be, more communicative. That's why I do the podcast on X. Art with Errol. You can just at Art with Errol on X. You can find it's the way I title it on there is content creation, gaming, and art, and it's a I always forget what it's called. It's a Spaces. They call it Spaces on X, and it's just a way that I can kind of, invite people to talk at some point. I just gotta, figure that part out. How am I going to do that? But I think that would be a great way when I can have guests. If I can get a guest, that would be a great way to get them bring them into the podcast, and have them speak. I know there's a way to do it through OBS, some kind of way to have somebody call into your thing. I got to figure that part out too, because I like to eventually get guests into this, which I think will be cool. So, like I said, thank you once again. I hope you guys enjoy your week. Stay tuned because I'm bringing content. We got content coming up. Let's have a great week. And till next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here, y'all.